of the Coming of the Moon by Tod Leben. Find the Child. This is actually one of my oldest works. And I have published it for free. It is meant to be a series of shorts, and this is the first short of the series. So does it feel as complete as some of my other works? No, but that's how life works, isn't it? Mother, why travel to this town for the spell? Why not cast it at home? The young witch whines on the back of her mother's broomstick. In the dark sky, no one could see the pair in all black flying. We will land in the next cornfield and make our circle. The older witch gives no notice to her daughter's complaints. I thought this was supposed to be a pentagon. Both will be present. The circle contains the pentagon. It will limit the stray magic. Her mother lands a broomstick in the middle of the cornfield. Create the circle, Charlene. Yes, mother. Charlene just turned 16. At 16, a witch can access part of her magic. By 20, a witch has all of her power. The purity circle, a circle highlighted with the salt, counts as spell 1. The skilled witch makes the pentagon within the circle. Once done, she returns to her broomsticks. I still don't understand why we had to come here, Charlene whines again, standing inside the circle. We are 50 kilometers from home. It's not like they will know. The sound of wings stops her words. Inside the circle, Charlene seeks her mother's attention with loud calls and wild movements, but her mother focuses solely on her broomstick. The vampire lands in bat form only a meter from her mother. Mother! The final yell has the mother look up. The movement gives the newly formed vampire an easier time. With blood being stolen, the witch performs a final spell, but not the one they came to perform. Charlene has no idea about the spell, but it will not protect them from vampires. Tears stream down her face while she collapses to the ground. A wild spell is free. Her mother has been turned. It has been 9 years since Charlene's mother turned. For the first 4 years, Charlene was trained by a fellow Coven witch. Unlike her mother's magic, this Coven witch only knew black magic. Even without her mother's presence, Charlene became much like her. Looks, power, style, class, match her mother much more than any other witch within the Coven. So the moment she could be called taught, she went on her own adventures to find the white magic and to find her mother's last real spell. Charlene's main focus is white magic, a magic that if others knew about, she would not only be cast from the coven, but vampires will come for her. So far, she has been safe. Years of study leads Charlene to the same town they chose to cast the vampiric protection. The wayward spell to Charlene's new knowledge creates a witch to replace the old one. Any spell her mother created or will create would be undone by this one witch. And given the spell, it should have found residence in this one town, somewhere among those less than 16. Given the 9 years since the spell, the child would be now between the ages of 9 and 25. Charlene places an ad for a fortune teller. Innocent and benign, if any of the older residents could guess her true nature, they would send the priests. If any of the witches in the area could guess her true nature, they would send the vampire clowns. Charlene does not wish for the mother-daughter reunion nor a burning. Over the course of several days, quite a number of teenagers ask for advice. Charlene casts cards and rolls dice. The vague answers give them some hope, but not a one can be called the witch in question. She knows her mother's energy, and the spell states one who matches. Each year she returns, and every year her name grows. For 9 years she shows not once seeing the witch who can help her. Growing in experience, her face ages little. Witches have magic to deny them such basic elements. Charlene at 34 looks just as she had at 25. The people start to notice, meaning this must be her last year. Her nerves grow as she makes her final attempt to find this woman. No luck. Just as she begins her nightly escape, the sound of wings assault her. Instead of being called on by the priests, the vampires find her first. The vampires land not 20 meters from her. Tall and firm before the young vampires stands Charlene's mother. which where Stella was when she last saw her. 18 years leaves her looking no different. Charlene stupidly watches and calls her name instead of making a purity circle. The vampires give no words before they go in for an attack. Charlene sets off to the sky on her mother's broomstick. Her maneuverability matches the young vampires. A voice knocks on Memory's wall. She turns to spot where the noise comes from, only to see everything falling around her. Oopsies. Oh, they gave me one last line. Charlene reaches for the broomstick, but she lacks hands. Her vision did not falter, but her hands and legs disappeared. She tried to look at herself, but nothing could come into sight. She whispers a soft fall spell like second nature, a must for one learning to fly. The soft spell lands her in a hay cart outside of a barn. The nearby horses whinny at her. She douses her energy, hopeful the vampires do not notice her. If no one eats her, maybe she can find someone to bring her to a witch. What witch would help her turn into a white witch, though? Besides her mother, no one has accepted a white witch. Her studies were from books of dead witches. The vampires kill everyone they find. Where did this pumpkin come from? The soft voice of a teenager catches the witch off guard. The gentle touch of hand to pumpkin allows Charlene the knowledge she needs to know. She is now a pumpkin. The sky. The pumpkin drops to the ground. Even though I am a pumpkin, I still feel a level of pain. Sorry, Miss Pumpkin? She stares at Charlene with wide eyes. I have no idea how to deal with a talking pumpkin. Right. Charlene attempts to move again, but without muscles or body parts, movement must be called impossible. My name is Charlene. Can you help me? How? I am looking for a person in this town. A girl who can save me. Charlene watches the teen before her with ease, one with a spade drawn on her heart. A witch? She blinks. The amount a normal person knows of witches stops with the witch's mark. More than just a witch, a special witch. One who can fix my problems. Do you know of a girl who may be your age with the spade above the heart? I know of no one like that. She picks Charlene back up, bringing her around to the barn. But my aunt would dislike seeing a pumpkin that has not been cut up and made into pie. So what will you do with me? Charlene looks the girl over. I shall bring you home once I finish my chores. I house watch for this half a year alone. She smiles, ready to leave Charlene. What is your name? Sabella. Sabella gives one final nod before exiting. Charlene's only hope. Where am I? Charlene's only hope of survival depends on lack of notice by one who might cause her harm. Upon nightfall, the girl comes back exhausted. Still, she manages to place Charlene in the basket of her bicycle, hidden among the black silk. If Charlene knew no one could hear her, she'd probably say something. Most would be skeptical of a talking pumpkin. At the small cottage, this young girl carries the pumpkin inside. On the kitchen table, Charlene can see most of the house, while Sabella goes out for her other goodies. Nothing much looks out of place. You have a pleasant cottage, almost good enough for a real witch. Charlene tests the water, not hopeful, but questioning. It used to be a witch's cottage. That is why it must be watched in case the witch returns, Sabella comments, working on dinner. Do you eat? I wouldn't know. I need to find out which spell this is so I may attempt figuring it out. Do you have a witch's book handy? You asked for something that could get me killed. Sabella turns to stare at the pumpkin. A long, silent pause ends with the return of cooking in plain voice. Yes, I do. The one who lived here left hers, which is why many think she will return. And what would you do if the witch did return? Charlene questions. The teen stops cooking to move over to her small metal contraption. I call the Royal Guard using this. You can call the Royal Guard from 500 kilometers away? What nonsense! The girl cooks easily, obviously used to cooking alone. You believe witches can fly. I believe you are human even as a talking pumpkin. Are we not both full of nonsense? Either way, they have proven to have heard me before when I was frightened one night. But it was neither goblin nor witch, just a child who summoned his courage to bother the witch. Do they not know you live here? Charlene asks, intrigued by such an occurrence. At that time, no. They had no idea. The witch was gone only a few months, and I was only on duty here a few days. In these last 2 years, no witch has shown herself. Sounds like a vampire got her. Was she a white witch? Charlene whispers such a comment. Sabella does not seem to hear, so she asks in a louder tone, Was she a white witch? What is a white witch? Are witches not all the same? Spawn of devil worshippers and controlled by Satan? Sabella dumps everything into her pile and moves away to fix something else. Most humans think all witches are black. Although technically under demonic control, white witches fight that fact. A witch who did not gain the power directly can be a white witch. As a daughter, I can be a white witch. The one I seek, born of a wild spell, should be a white witch. The demons will send vampires to kill us if they realize we are not the proper servants. We are not free. Some sought freedom, but no one has succeeded. Every attempt has ended in death. Is that your goal? Sabella asked, eye to eye with the talking pumpkin. Perhaps in the future, but for now my goal is to live long enough to build my repertoire of spells. Charlene switches subjects. Do I look like a jack-o'-lantern? Similar, I guess. Let me get you a mirror. After a little searching, Sabella pulls out a hand-side mirror. Charlene stares at the mirror, a pumpkin head with no body. Her normal brown eyes peer back, her mouth works as it did on her real body. I want to be human. Can you help me find this witch? I don't know if I can. Sabella places the mirror in such a way Charlene can still look at herself, then goes back to cooking. How about we have dinner first? Then we can talk about this girl. Woman. She must at least be 18, Charlene responds, glancing at the mirror. It feels like my chance at finding her diminished to nothing when I became a pumpkin. The gravity of the situation tugs Charlene away from the mirror. My mother has an odd way with spells. The vampires sure do not find me like this. Your mother? Where did she go? Sabella sounds interested in the story. When the spell was cast to create a successor, she was turned into a vampire. All I truly know about her is she must be between the ages of 18 and 34, and lived in this town 18 years ago. She could be right in front of my face, and I would not know it. Sabella giggles carelessly. That would mean I am the witch you speak of, but I do not have a spade above my heart, nor can I cast magic. A new witch must be connected to a coven to cast magic. Charlene watches as Sabella brings the food over. A feeling inside her screams about food. May I have a spoonful? Sabella stares at Charlene for a moment before bringing a spoonful of food to the talking pumpkin. Just as the spoon Just as the spoon enters the pumpkin's mouth, a bat swoops down and lands on the table, speaking loudly. If you feed her, feed me too. I need no food. A cat purrs out below the table. Charlene finishes her spoonful, finding the tea not at all bothered. You have a witch's pet here, Charlene finally comments. His name is Gus. Sabella works on her food, watching the bat act out. Gustave, the cat trills out. I'm Gustave, Lady Valentine's favorite. Charlene chuckles at the bat's antics. The white cat below, I assume, is Misty, my companion? Yes, master. I'd follow you anywhere. I'd prefer a spot with more rodents to eat. The hiss from the bat makes Charlene chuckle further. I do believe they won't get along. Sibella gives another spoonful to Charlene. I will get you the book once dinner is over. You do not hand magic over to random witches. Did I teach you nothing? Gus comments, flying around Sibella angrily. Teach her, Charlene asks with his mouth full. Misty hisses at the poor manners and is promptly ignored. Whether you believe me or not, whether she believes me or not, this young child has the witch's mark in magic. I've been trying to explain to her. Charlene stares at the light-hearted, disbelieving Sibella. Sibella, would you mind repeating after me? Sibella's eyes thin and her lips turned down. Do not believe the bat. Just repeat me. O Father, who art in heaven. To Charlene's surprise, Sibella almost jumps over the request, even after being so dismissive of the idea. Without a negative comment, Sibella happily performs the entire refrain as if she was standing in the pew on Sunday morning, or at night before sleep. Unbeknownst to her, witches glow when given a religious spell. Their auras show up to anyone who can access magic in any sense. A black witch normally has an aura to match her level of sin. For a white witch, innocent in most ways, the aura shines pure. Sibella's aura shines with a purity found only among the truly innocent. I love that refrain. Spell. We call it a spell. Written by the priests who want to find a witch marked without going through the trouble of unclothing her. Charlene glances at the bat, who smirks as best it can. I found her. I found my missing piece. Bring me the book and we shall figure out how to get me back into a human form. I don't understand. Sibella pulls back because of the accusation. I am no witch. No, not yet. And you will never be a normal witch. You were born from a white witch magic. No other witch can call themselves a white witch from creation. With your help, I will be a human again in no time. The persuasive tone sends Sibella to find the book. Charlene can guess she will need more persuading. That girl may never learn proper spells, Gus comments, landing on top of Charlene. How did you turn into a pumpkin anyway? What spell was that? My mother made her death spell a little different. Instead of normal instant death of a black witch, the enemy would turn into something unnoticeable. Pumpkin during autumn seems almost blasé. Charlene tries to see the bat, but she cannot see something on top of her. True. Teach me that spell. Only if you help this girl become the witch my mother always wanted to be. Charlene batters with the bat. Tricky. All witches are tricky. You have yourself a deal. Gus flies off, going to the rafters. Here's the book. Sibella places a book on the table in front of Charlene. Good. We have a lot of work to do.